Hello everybody, welcome to Varric's Mod 15 build for an OP protection tank. So this is my alt, Tokarek. I'm going to go through some stuff here. Um, basically, I've got the Oath Lord's hat and the Oath Lord's boots. I've got the Executioner's couters. Excuse me, which you can get out of the salvage gear packs from Barovia if you're lucky. It's all up to RNG. And then there's the Magic Lord Surcoat. Now look at this thing. It's got 70,000 maximum hit points. This thing's great. The stats on it are so-so, but I mean, you can get it out of the Mysterious Merchant. So if your alliance has a Mysterious Merchant up, you just gotta wait till it comes around. I believe it's 30,000 guild marks, like most armor. I'm using Exalted Pioneer Lat and Exalted Pioneer Jawa, Januia, whatever. Sorry, I'm a bit under the weather today. As you can see, if you're in a full party, you get 1,000 power, defense, recovery, crit, and armor pen. This is way more useful than the Mastercraft 3 set if you're planning to actually be a tank. I'm running the Lichstone set, which is basically for defense and deflect. This isn't so much of a... You can really run whatever you want here. I like the stats on it. I get an extra 8 armor class. It just helps for defense. I have no issues tackling the giants in FBI, and I hardly ever die there. And then a Ring of Shadowstalker and a Ring of Grave Striker. If you got +5, kudos to you. I've been trying for like, I don't know how long. I gave up. Anyway, and then the Adamantine Chainmail +1, Adamantine Chops is +1. You guys can either ask a friend to craft them for you, or you can craft them yourself. For sigils, I'm running Sigil of the Devoted as my main because that charges up my daily fast. The Empowered Illusionist Mask, which is power, recovery, action point gain. Sigil of the Oathbound Paladin, which is max hit points, power, and AoE resist. And then Sigil of the Controller for power and crit. Now for feats, I took 5 out of 5 in Divine Action because every time you hit your tab button, you're going to get 5% of your max AP. It is very, very handy. I did not take the Weapon Mastery that increases your crit by 3% because I had other places to spend it. I probably should have taken it, but 6 and 1 half does the other. Totally up to you. Toughness 3/3 for sure. Exemplar's Haste. It's good to, if you've got extra points, put it in here because your encounter powers just speeds up recharge speed. And the faster you can use them, the better. Your Wrathful Strikes, your at-will powers deal 6% more damage. 3/3 in Impassioned Pleas, you generate Divine Call energy 6% faster. I've got 2 of 5 in Steadfast, which gives me an additional 1% of my maximum hit points for every point of Constitution. And Force of Will, which each point of my charisma increases my crit by 1%. So I get an extra 20% crit, I get an extra 30% hit points. These are my stats here. I found this works the best for me. To each their own. Okay, so Justice, we've got 5 of 5 in Bound by Light, 5 of 5 in Flash of Light. I'm not explaining these because they've been explained so many times before. 5 of 5 in Radiant Champion, 5 of 5 of Beacon and Hope. Now people are like, why do you use Beacon of Hope and not Prism? Well, there's a very simple thing to this. I can spam my dailies pretty darn quickly. And the thing is, it says here, activating daily power causes you to become beacon hole for 6 seconds. Randomly, 3 allies within 30 feet who have taken damage will be healed for 250% of your weapon damage. Well, this thing's been broken since mod 3. Basically, what happens is three of your party, so 3 out of the 4 in your party, gets fully healed for 6 seconds. They get 100% of their maximum hit points every second for 6 seconds if they take damage. That's where I utilize this exploit to the full. Well, no, sorry, bug, or working as intended, as Cryptic would put it. 5 of 5 in Purifying Fire. Now, I mean, I don't use my at-wills that much. This one's kind of a toss-up. You could actually run Beacon of Hope and Prism, but I use it. I use the Purifying Fire because, you know, when you run low on Divine Call and stuff, this gives you a little extra bit of damage. And then, of course, 1-1 in Vengeful Judge. And then in Light, it's the standard Gifts of Light, Warrior's Bastion, and, of course, Aura Gifts. Now, my character has, if I activate my companion, my character is sitting around an 87-88% crit chance. There's a reason why my crit chance is that high. Because, basically, if you're using Templar's Wrath, your temporary hit points are determined by a few things. One, the number of people around you, up to a maximum of 5. And 2, whether or not you crit. Because if you crit, you get the crit severity amount of hit points added onto that. So if you crit when you're hitting Templar's Wrath, you're going to get a lot more temporary hit points than if you don't crit. You'll get less temporary hit points. Okay, so boons, pretty straightforward here. I don't worry about PvP campaign. I haven't finished Acquisitions Incorporated yet, so I'm nothing there. Sharendar, this is my setup. Dreadring, this is my setup. Icewind Dale, my setup. Underdark, there's my setup. Tyranny of Dragons, set up there. Maze Engine, set up here. Elemental Evil, set up there. Storm King's Thunder, I haven't fully finished it yet, but here's the setup I have so far. Cloaked Ascendancy. And the Jungles of Chult. And last but not least, Raven. So, there's the boons I've taken. I'm really not going to go into explain them because it's been explained like so many times. Basically, Righteous Sacrifice is great for a team. I mean, if you're going to be a tank, support the team. Make sure your team doesn't die, make sure they all stay together, and make sure the mobs all stay on you. That's the whole 9 yards to it. If you're running ahead and pretending you're a GWF, then maybe you should have played a GWF. That was a joke. Okay, companions. I am currently using the Rust Monster, and then I've got the Spider for reduction of combat advantage damage, the Boar for crit severity, and then I've got a Fire and a Earth Archon. Alternatives here, you don't have to run the Rust Monster because finding waste artifacts for this guy is a pain in the ass. Pardon my French. Good alternatives are the Tiger, Con Artist, any of the Mercenary or the Sword Lady. I can't remember. All the ones that give you some kind of debuff. The Rust Monster, as far as I'm concerned, gives you a better debuff than the Tiger does. But finding the waste artifacts, and you will sacrifice a little bit of power because it's got 2 defense slots. So it's 6 and 1/2 does the other. Do you want to debuff more or do you want to damage more? I went with the debuff after years of playing the Tiger. Mount Insignia bonuses. These are pretty straightforward. Artificer's Persuasion, Gladiator's Guile, Protector's Camaraderie, Shepherd's Devotion, and Wanderer's Fortune. Now the thing is, if you don't need any more RP, you can drop Wanderer's Fortune, and you can put something like, Cavalry's Warning, or just depending on what you have. You could put Protector's Friendship here, you could put Artificer's Influence here. Basically, the first four are the important ones. After that, really the last one you're on, whatever you decide, it'll be fine. Okay, I think that pretty much explains everything. If you have any questions, feel free to message me in game. I am on PC. My handle is at BARONSTRAGEN. And thanks for taking the time to watch this. I'm sorry I tried to keep it short, but it's still 10 minutes. My apologies. Good luck, guys.